So I just finished reading Dorohedoro and Dai Dark. Let's talk about it. Hey, how's it going, guys? Blue Tempest here, and welcome back to another video. This is a very special episode of the 3-volume rule, where I'm actually gonna be talking about 2 different series. Those series both being written by the same mangaka, Q Hayashida, and they are Dorohedoro and Dai Dark. Now, these are some pretty popular series in the manga community, and while Dorohedoro was a series that was featured in both a seinen magazine and a shonen magazine, Dai Dark so far is just in a shonen magazine. So technically, you could say they are shonen series, but they do feel like seinen a lot of the time. These are both very dark, gritty, and just grimy series. And for this video, I did want to talk about both of them since I did have the first 3 volumes of both of the series. And I decided to read both to see, which series is better, which series do I prefer, and just talk about some of the differences and similarities between these 2 series. So I hope you guys do enjoy this video. If you do, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. But without further ado, let's get into the video, starting with my thoughts on Dorohedoro. Dorohedoro is the more well-known of these 2 series. This series is very, very highly praised in the community, so I definitely had some high expectations for this series. And this was one that I had the first volume of for a really long time, and it took me forever to get volumes 2 and 3. And I had read the first volume of the series back when I first got it. It's probably been over 6 months at this point. And while I did enjoy it, I wasn't 100% on it. This is definitely one of those series that took 3 volumes for me to really wrap my head around it. And I did reread volume 1 again recently when I did read volumes 2 and 3 as well. And I've gotta say, it did grow on me a lot more after the second read through. Now, the story of Dorohedoro is basically kind of a revenge story with our main character Kaiman, who has the head of a lizard but the body of a human. And he was not originally like this. A sorcerer in the world of Dorohedoro actually cursed Kaiman with the curse of being a lizard man. So he's out for revenge, trying to find this sorcerer who did this to him, because he does not remember how it happened. So he goes around fighting sorcerers to try to figure out who did this to him. And the way he can tell whether he found the right sorcerer or not is he literally puts the head of whoever he's fighting in his mouth, and inside Kaiman's lizard head there's a human head, and the human head will then say whether that sorcerer is the one that he's looking for. Now, this is a really weird concept. I am gonna put up some footage of the panel in which that happens so you guys can kind of visualize it, because it is very difficult for me to explain it, but this is a really unique concept. He does have also a best friend in the series known as Nikaido. Now, she is actually one of my favorite characters. I can definitely see that there's going to be a lot of development between the 2 of them, but also just with her in general. I just love her character, and I can't wait to see more of her backstory and just know more about her. Now, another big part of Dorohedoro is a lot of the other characters, a lot of the side characters. I will say Kaiman, he is not the best character in the series, and I think that is one of the shortcomings to Dorohedoro. I think that so far with the first 3 volumes, he's just a really goofy, wacky main character. He's kind of stereotypical, and while he's enjoyable for sure, I don't think that he is my favorite. And so in this series, we do get introduced to some villain characters, or just some characters that are these sorcerers in this world. And to kind of explain the sorcerers that are present in Dorohedoro, there is a realm where these sorcerers live, and they go to where Kaiman and Nikaido live, which is a place called The Hole. And in The Hole, it's just pretty much a destroyed junkyard where sorcerers practice all types of weird magic on anyone and everything that lives in this city. I'm not 100% sure if the whole is even a city or if it's, you know, bigger than that, but it's just this area where, you know, sorcerers just go to experiment their magic. And it's really interesting. I just love the world building in this series, and I love just the architecture and just the landscapes, and it's all just super gritty, super dirty, grimy, and the art is just perfect for this. But back to what I was saying about some of the antagonists in Dorohedoro, we do have a pretty big group of antagonists. I feel like they get as much time in the limelight as our protagonists do, and I really do enjoy that aspect to this series. We do get to see them a lot, and this group of sorcerers that we do follow is led by a character named N, and then we do have the character of Shin and Noi, and also Fujita and Ibisu. And all of these characters are just super fun. I love seeing their side of the story and seeing what they're doing, because they're on the hunt for Kaiman. So it's really interesting when you do see them come together at certain points in the story. I really do enjoy those parts. And it kind of begs the question of, you know, who is the good guy and who is the bad guy? Because honestly, I love characters in both sides. So I'm really interested to see where the story goes from here and just what happens between these two sides fighting. Now, to get into some of my thoughts on Dai Dark. Now, Dai Dark is a pretty similar series to Dorohedoro. It basically follows our main character known as Zaha Sanko, and he has this really interesting ability where if anybody touches his bones, they will get any of their wishes granted. Now, this story is set in space, but it's just as grimy and it's just as gritty as the setting in Dorohedoro. So I feel like the settings are very similar while also being different at the same time, which I do appreciate. And the characters are also, you know, kind of similar. I would say our main character in Dai Dark is pretty similar to Kaiman as well. But we do get to see some other characters in Dai Dark, such as Avakian, who is this like skeleton guy. And then there's this other character named Shimada Death, who is so far my favorite character in Dai Dark. I'm really interested to seeing more of them in this series because they're just this super powerful entity. And yeah, I'm just really curious about that. But so far with Dai Dark, I feel like while Dorohedoro has a lot of wacky moments, I feel like it's ramped up a lot more in Dai Dark, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. It's just a completely different vibe. And like I said, both of these series are very similar. Kyu Hayashida's artwork is phenomenal across both series. That is something that stays consistent, and also just the writing style and just the witty humor is present in both series. And like I did say, the setting in both of these series are super original, super unique, which I do appreciate. Now, if you're wondering which of these two series I prefer, I think personally, as of right now, you know, reading the first 3 volumes of both series, I definitely prefer Dorohedoro a bit more, just because of the whole aspect of the villains being super interesting. As of right now, the antagonists in Dai Dark just aren't really there. They're not really interesting or memorable. You really just have, you know, those 3 characters in Dai Dark that I did mention: Sanko, Avakian, and Shimada Death. And I don't think there's a lot of depth to them yet. And while Dorohedoro at this point in the story doesn't have a lot of depth with the characters either, that's pretty much because there are so many characters in Dorohedoro. But with Dai Dark having a more focused cast, I feel like they should be a little bit more developed, because I feel like in Dorohedoro, they are a little bit more developed. So I don't know. That's just kind of something that I felt when reading this. But it doesn't take away from the fact that Dai Dark is still a really interesting series, and I'm really interested to see where the story goes from here. But right now, my mind is definitely set on Dorohedoro. Obviously, this series is finished. There's 23 volumes out. I haven't collected the entirety of it, but I'm definitely trying to collect it all very soon. Whereas, Dai Dark is still ongoing. So I'm glad I'm able to continue with Dorohedoro because it is the one that I was more into. But I am glad that I'm going to get to follow Dai Dark as it releases. So yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on both of these series. So let me know down in the comments if you guys have read either of these series, Dorohedoro and Dai Dark. Let me know your thoughts. Which of these two do you guys prefer? If you are interested and haven't checked out either of these series, pick both of these up. They also both have some super nice, amazing quality printings as well. Dorohedoro being from Viz and then Dai Dark being from 7 Seas. So I don't think you can go wrong with either of these series. But with that, guys, that does it for this video. If you did enjoy it, then make sure to leave a like and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you do enjoy my content, then make sure to hit that notification bell so you can get notified every time that I do upload a brand new video. All of my social media links are going to be down in the description. So definitely follow me on those platforms. And with that, guys, that does it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.